Hey guys, welcome back to Heiko Shaves. I just strapped on my watch and it told me it's time for another shave. And as you can see, I could really use one. And today I have all new things here. I have a really inexpensive razor. You might have seen a review or two about this one, the Ming Shi, sold on AliExpress under a few different names. Mine was listed under Yintal, which is another Chinese brand. And so there's Ming Shi razor blades. I'm not sure. I don't think we're gonna use one. We want to give the razor a proper chance to shine. And then out comes this little retainer here. It's all in Chinese, obviously. And then out comes the razor. That looks very familiar. This looks like a long handle Merkur Progress. And here, let me tighten that up so it doesn't fall apart. If we put those two next to each other, they are very, very similar. Very similar. One thing I immediately notice is on the proper Merkur Progress, you have to line up the top cap with a marker here at the base plate to get the adjuster down here to work correctly. And the Ming Shi looks like it doesn't have the markings. It still has the adjuster down here, the same kind of plastic handle. The plastic handle on the Merkur really has this ivory color, which some people replaces with like stainless steel or brass or whatever. You can buy some aftermarket knob, but I really actually like it because it gives us this real vintage look. And this razor has been in existence since the 1950s. So originally not made for Merkur or under that brand name, but for a different manufacturer. And then later on, Merkur bought the rights to it and they started making it in, I think, 1955, around there, ballpark. So this razor has almost been unchanged on the market since 1955. So that's 70 years, if my math is correct. And this thing here now really heavily inspired, or shall we say a total copy of the Merkur. This looks like the long handle. I used to have a long handle, then sold one off. I decided to keep the short one, which is the more classical or vintage inspired version. The long handle is more a modern occurrence. The knob is a little skinnier. The color is a little brighter or lighter in color. And what does it say on there? I know I can't. Unscrew and tighten. So I think they wanted to say, I don't know if this is going to come out. I'm going to try to unscrew and tighten, I guess. But it says unscrew, UNDCREW with a little arrow, and tighten. I don't know if you guys can see it. We'll see it during editing. But anyways, let's weigh them real quick, comparing the pretty much entirely zinc cast made Merkur Progress, made in Germany. 92 grams, and then the long handle Ming Shi. I hope I'm saying this correctly. Ming Shi. It's the Shaver 5000S. It says that right there. 5000S. 9-speed adjustable razor. So it's not 9 levels of adjustments, but it's 9-speed. And it has 15 razor blades. Is that correct? Here it says, oh, it's one razor, 5 blades. Okay, not 15 blades, because I only got one little pack here, the Ming Shi blade. So 92 is the original, and this is 83, even though it has a longer handle. So they definitely saved on some material there. Also, what I noticed is that the scalloping here on the close comb is different. A little bit here, the handle is different. So it's not carbon copy. What I gotta give them right out of the gate, the adjuster markers down here, they look like they are laser engraved. And maybe this chrome plated piece here is copper, because the color that comes through is kind of copper colored. So laser engraved into a chrome plated copper ring, which makes it really easy to read. Whereas on the proper Merkur, it's just indentations. So it's you know, I don't know, embossing. Yeah, embossed. And it's kind of hard to read. Back in the days, the vintage versions, they actually had this underlaid in red paint, but I guess for cost-saving measures, they don't do that anymore. This one here, I want to say it's somewhere in the $50 range. Let's verify this real quick, since we have the time. Nobody's rushing us. Merkur Progress. Oh, I take that back. It's $68. So the short handle, it's the 500001 is the short handle Progress on Amazon for $68. I will put a link down below. And this puppy here, the Ming Shi, which in my case, it was listed under Yintal, $5.95, $6, somewhere around there, plus tax. So a $7 razor pretty much when it arrived here. Overall, just looking at the chrome plating and all that, right out of the gate, it makes a pretty good impression. I'm not saying that this is good, that they are just taking a product and literally copying it. If I look at other Yachi razors, for example, if I look at the Yachi Torx that we just shaved with a little while ago, very close in appearance to the home-like shaving Elbrus, which is out of production. And then also here, for example, where is it now? Yeah, I have it somewhere here. There is a Yachi, here's the Yachi Ultima, which some people could say, okay, this is a clone of the Rex, not the Rex console, Ambassador. They are not exactly the same. They are machined differently. They look differently. The head geometry is different. So it's not a carbon copy. They're just, in principle, the same adjustment mechanism, same material, but overall, it's a different looking razor. This is copying outright. So we're not going to do a comparison shave. I kind of still remember what the Merkur Progress feels like. We're just going to use this one here. It opens up just like the Progress. It's more or less a two-piece razor. Top comes out. Overall, bits and pieces look very well made. So let's compare if this looks the same, if they maybe are even interchangeable. So this is the bottom of the Merkur top cap. And this is the bottom of the Yintal, Ming Shi, whatever you want to call it. The threaded end is longer, obviously, because it's the long handle version. They also have more alignment tabs in there, whereas the Merkur only has the 2 pins. And this is more shiny on the bottom, and this one is more a rougher surface that was chrome plated. So overall, I gotta give it to them. Quality so far, looking at it, is there. Same here, base plate of the Ming Shi has the slots for more alignment tabs. This one only has holes. Underside, of course, the Merkur has some markings here, manufacturer and so on, and the company logo. The Ming Shi doesn't have any. And then you can see that the Ming Shi actually has openings in those lather gutters here, those massive lather gutters that the Merkur, and also here the Parka variant is known for, similar design. This is really dusty, I haven't used it in a while. So anyways, the Ming Shi, they put some holes down there so to make drainage even better than on this one here. This doesn't have a clogging issue really, but this one has even less clogging issues, I would assume. Interestingly, so this one here is a little spring loaded, right? It's how this whole tightening mechanism works. So the top cap, now I have to figure out which one is which. The top cap and the blade go on here. And then when you tighten the bottom here, the knob on the Merkur, the spring tension pushes pretty much this middle piece and the top cap together so that the blade stays pinched even in higher settings. Of course, when you are tightening it all the way down to 0, oh no, I actually have it mounted the wrong way. I mentioned that there is a alignment mark on the centerpiece there. I don't know, centerpiece and the top cap, and you have to pay attention to that. So when it's fully cranked down, then obviously the blade is forced into this curved position. But then when you start going to higher settings, so right now we're at 3, 4 or 5, roughly like this. Actually, what holds the blade in this curved tension position is the spring tension that pushes this middle piece upwards, and the top is held by the knob, obviously, right? And then here on this one, there is spring tension, but very little. So I would say, here, let's just do a little experimenting before we start shaving with this thing. So here we're in 0. And now I'm going to 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At position 9, the knob is already loose. That means that the top cap here is literally already loose. So the center piece that is supposed to be pushed up against the top cap is not doing that anymore. So that might already be a problem with the design here. They did a pretty good copying job in look of the thing, but not the actual adjustment mechanism. So this here is not going high enough, being pushed up hard enough for an adjustment all the way to setting 9. And don't misunderstand me here. So if we're looking at the scale, 1 and 9 are next to each other. On the Merkur here, 1 and 5 is next to each other. So the increments are just divided up more. You know, here it goes from 1 to 1.5 and then 2. And here it immediately goes from 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5. So, but the full adjustment range is only one turn. From 1 to 9 is just one turn. And from 1 to 5 is also just one turn. But on the original Merkur, when you start at 1 and you go all the way to 5, you still have tension. The blade is still under tension. Whereas on this puppy here, we'll now find out. So let's grab a one-time used Wilkinson sword blade hanging here on my magnet. We're just going to place that on top, stick that in there. And now we're going to run into the issue. I'll tighten it all the way up, and it only goes to number 2. Let's loosen it up one more time and turn it around, 180 degree. Top cap I'm talking about. Let's just turn that around one more time, and then tighten it up and see where the adjuster ends this time. What's going on here? Oh, it doesn't fit. Huh. Okay. I see. I just discovered something. I need to take it apart and show you guys. All right. So instead of, drop the blade off. Instead of putting a marking on the outside, you have the top cap that has a little nubbin sticking out here. And in the base plate here, you have that little nubbin cut out only on one side, not on the other side. So you can only put this on in one direction. You just have to pay attention to the underside and the base plate here so that it fits together and you can actually tighten it down. All right, so one more time. Now that we figured this out, we can tighten it all the way up and see that the adjuster doesn't line up with number. If I crank it really hard, I can get it to 1. See that? And then if I now loosen it up, we can get to 9 without the knob feeling loose. But as soon as I go a little past 9, like 2 steps past 9, so we're back at 1, it's now becoming loose. So I guess the spring tension is just sufficient to go to the highest setting, but you cannot go past it. On the Merkur, since the centerpiece moves up under spring tension much higher, you can go from 1 to 5 and then 6 and 7 and 8 and 9, and you can go to 10 and still have spring tension. So, you know, I guess if this is a pro or a con for you, but at least we can go to the highest setting, 1 turn, and still have spring tension on that blade, which forces it into its curved position. So now I'm going to crank it back down to 1, and I'm going to show you after 15 minutes talking about a Ming Shi razor, the other things that we're going to use. The brush isn't new. It's actually pretty old. I think this is my first brush. Oh, it's dusty. Whew. The first brush that I bought when I started the channel is a KIKC wooden handle, synthetic knot. It's doing its job. It looks good. The handle hasn't cracked or anything. Looks pretty nice. I use it occasionally, synthetic brush, so you don't really need to pre-soak, you just get it wet. And now there's an empty Proraso shave cup. Is it a cup or a bowl? Doesn't matter. Plastic, right? This little thing. And I bought something that goes right into it. I put a order in with the razor company and ordered some Proraso Greeen soap. I'm so excited. You look at that. And instead of leaving it in this tiny little plastic container, we're just gonna, if I can get it out. Hello, there you go. Now upside down. We're gonna put that in here. And that's where it lives from now on. And the lid actually fits this cup thing. Fits right on there. It's not airtight, so I guess it lets enough air escape to actually let this dry out. So this is gonna be in there. And I can't tell you how excited I am about this, because Proraso Greeen is absolutely my absolute favorite. And I'm also gonna grab the Proraso Greeen pre-shave, which is not new. And then look at this thing. 400 milliliters glass bottle, Proraso Greeen. Unfortunately, it leaked a little bit in transport, so I already lost like 20 milliliters or so. I've contacted the razor company and I'm pretty sure they're gonna make it right. So the packaging smelled really, really good. So this is 400 and the normal size is usually here. I don't have the old bottle anymore, but it's about this size. This is 100 milliliters and this is 400. So this is for the heavy use. And we're gonna put this under heavy use. So we have a brush, we have the soap, we have the pre-shave. So let me get my stubbles just moist a little bit. And then we're gonna put the Proraso Greeen pre-shave right over top of that. We have a blade and the razor, so I guess we're good to go. I just need to stop rambling and get shaving. My dive watch says, let's dive right into it. You guys let me know if you're interested in watches. I have a few, I've built a few watches out of parts. So I take inspiration from vintage watches or, you know, famous watches that I cannot afford. And then I try to recreate them with, you know, parts available on Amazon or on AliExpress. And this here is one of those. So I call this a homage. It's not a clone or a copy because it's not accurate enough. But yeah, so some watches, you know, this one here is a Captain Willard 6105, a Seiko model that I kind of cloned. But I'm not selling them. So I'm not guilty of what is it, patent infringement or, you know, stealing of some sort of, you know, company property or whatever. Anyways, so that's done. Let's get our brush wet. I'll just squeeze it out. And then we're gonna go in this brand new Proraso Greeen pug here. That's just gonna live in there. This is what I use for daily shave. I mean, I don't even reach for anything else. I don't scoop out. I just take this, get my brush wet, go right in there. And we're gonna lather up here in my face. I have some warm water in my sink and also in my little emesis basin. Look at that. And right in my face. And the scent is just, lovely. I've missed this so much. I used up my last little bit of Proraso Greeen a few months ago. And then I was kind of forcing myself to use up some other soaps. And didn't want to buy anything new. But, you know, I just had to. I have a few really good razors coming up for review that I want to show you. And I would like to use Proraso Greeen. When I do that, it's my go-to soap. It's very gentle on my skin. So I've heard people commenting on, yeah, you know, it's from Italy, but in Italy it's considered kind of like lower tier, nothing special. And I mean, I agree. It's a product that's very widely available. It's available on Amazon worldwide, probably. And it's probably a brand that you would be able to buy in drugstores in Italy. Kind of like, you know, Nivea Man. You can buy that in every drugstore, or even the cosmetics aisle in like bigger supermarkets and whatnot. So it's very widely available all over Europe. And therefore, it's nothing special, but it just works for me. It lathers well. It smells nice. It has this mentholated, little tingle on my skin. And look at this. And the scent. So I like to try to get it really nice and moist because this stuff tends to dry up pretty quickly. But yeah, this is great. And then my little brush here. Easy to hold on to. I'm always leaning towards the smaller knots. I have this 26 millimeter, the Kong or whatever it's called, by Sterling. I barely ever use it because I smear lather all over my nose, and with a smaller knot, I don't have that problem. So look at this. Oh, it's so nice. It's so lovely to finally have it back. I have used Awesome Sauce by PAA kind of as a substitute for a while, and it's fairly similar, but not the same. So it's similar and it held me over for a little while. All right, we're lathered up. We are bladed up. Here is the Ming Shi, what is it? Shaver 5000S. We're at setting 1 and we're gonna see if it actually shaves at setting 1. There's a little bit of some shaving going on. But that is so mild that I would say crank it up a little bit. So we're at 1. Let's go to 5. 5, 4.5, somewhere in there, halfway. And let's see what that feels like. Oh, it's barely any different. It should feel different because we open up the blade gap, right? Let's see if it actually does that. Yeah, it's very small changes in blade gap. I mean, it does go up. I just also noticed in the fully cranked down position at 1, one side blade gap is larger than the blade gap on the other side. So this one here looks like it will not shave at all. In this side, let's verify this. So here's the larger blade gap. That shaves. And now I'm going to the other side. There's barely anything. Yeah. So $6 razor. Alignment has something to be desired here. It's not very good. So now I'm at 5. One side is again much larger than the other. You can clearly see this. I'm not making this up. So one side is larger than the other. So here is the smaller side. I haven't watched any other YouTubers review on this, but I don't know. How can a $6 razor compete with a razor that has been in production since 1955 or whatever? Don't quote me on this. This is just from memory. I just nicked myself. I had a little, pimple here. Now I nicked myself, but that's not the razor's fault. That's my own fault. Yeah, so the larger side definitely has a little bit more blade feel. See the little flakes of Proraso green floating around? Yeah, the larger side is definitely shaving a little bit more aggressively than the other side. But overall, bleeding, it shaves. It's a $6 razor. I am not condoning their outright copying of a razor. I like when, for example, Yachi came out with the Bohemia, which is inspired by a French Bohin razor. I hope I'm saying this correctly. And the Bohin razor has been out of production forever. So there's really no conflict of any kind of interest of, we shaved, no conflict with any kind of copyrights or, patent infringements or any of that stuff, because you're just picking up a design that existed 50 years ago and you bring it back to production. There's no problem with that. And then also this whole argument about, is this a clone or a copy of the Rex Ambassador? And I would say no, it isn't, because it just completely looks different. There's different knurling, the adjuster is different, the whole geometry of the head is different. And I would say actually the Rex Ambassador does a better job of, tensioning the blade, and it's just completely different. So I think this is a moot point of trying to, go after, you know what, guys? You don't see me use alum block very often, but maybe I can stop my chopped off pimple from, oh, that burns. I'm a wussy, huh? Let's clean that off a little bit in water. All right, so maybe it sucks it up. It's a moot point to try to, argue against other manufacturers making products that are similar than yours. And I don't think there is going to be any kind of recourse. As a US manufacturer, you're not going to go after a Chinese company and really gain anything from it. But yeah, this is really outright copying of an existing product. It's like straight on pushing it into, casting sand and then casting the same product. And yeah, I'm not condoning that. I don't like that. But we had to try. Everyone out there was talking about the Ming Shi 5000S, and I just wanted to participate. And man, do I like the scent of this soap. Yeah, it gets a little flaky. It gets flaky quick. You could maybe hold that against Proraso Green. But I do love me some Proraso Green. Just the coolness. My skin is always really happy after shaving. Oh, I just dropped my brush on its side. Making a mess, as always. So, now we're gonna crank it up to, let's say 8.5. Because at 9, the knob gets already really loose. Yeah, blade alignment, blade gap. Let's do a across the grain at almost highest setting. It shaves, guys, it does. And now switching around. Feels similar. There's not major difference between left or right. Dogs barking, watching over the house. The German Shepherd. Hey, shout out to Kevy Shaves. I watched a video yesterday. He was using the Rockwell 6C. Man, is that a funny guy. He's really funny. I mean, I know he's a little bit of an actor. He does voice-over recording for things. He's a funny guy. I like to watch him. It's not so much about the products he's using, but really just a very entertaining 15-20 minutes. He's joking around in his personal way. Yeah, still bleeding. All right, let's go against the grain down here. Yeah, the Ming Shi. This is at the highest setting. Going against the grain on my neck. On setting 1, it's definitely super mild. I mean, anyone could put this in their face without risk of cutting anything. This is really good already. Except there, I just shaved around it. Let's do a third, right? Shall we? Yeah, man, I love this soap. Oh, do I love this soap. Oh, amazing. What did I do so long without Proraso Green? I guess we're all kind of the same way. We all have our preferences. We like certain blades the best. For me, it's, I don't know, lately I've been kind of really wandering all over the place. I have sharp blades and treat blades and feather blades and Persona blades and Wilkinson sword blades, and they all seem to work okay in most every scenario. So I'm not, you know, some people say, oh, the treat blades, they suck. And some people say the treat blades are great. We all have our preferences. And as long as I have a sharp blade on my razor, it doesn't really matter all that much. There might be slight differences in tolerances, like the blades are slightly larger or smaller, and therefore you're affecting your blade exposure slightly. Feather blades, you know, one of the sharpest blades on the market. I have no problem putting them in any razor and just going for it. All right, let's do above the jawline against the grain here. And I turned it back down to about a 5. Yeah, what can I say? It's lighter than the original. It's not quite as forceful with its tensioning of the blade as the original. It's not as nicely aligning as the original. But this $6 razor is miles better than some other $6 stuff that I've tried. But, you know, I gotta say, more recently I've tried some really inexpensive razors off of Amazon. Like we had the, oh my goodness, the Emperor Augustus, I think. And then we had the $20 feather plastic razor. And what else did we do? I just saw it here in my drawer. What was it? The Facon razor. They were all like $10. The feather was $20. And I gotta tell you, they were all great. Great, I tell you. I think I have a little nick down here too, but that's okay. I did shave against the grain with the highest setting, and my neck skin isn't as smooth as here in the middle of my face. So here I can do R41 full speed, and on my neck I have to be really careful. But yeah, so 3 passes with my favorite soap with a $6 Ming Shi razor. And overall, besides my carelessness and chopping off my pimple, I think we did all right. We got a really good result out of it. This is BBS if I've ever seen one. It's clean. It's clean. All right, you guys, let me rinse off. Amazing. It's very slick, has lots of leftover slickness. Takes a little while to wash off. And just this sense of coolness in my face because of the menthylation is just, it's great. And now, let's see. Oh yeah, it has a little bit of a reducer up in here. It's actually a pretty interestingly made bottle. Look at this. So it's not a plastic insert, it's just made that way. And now I'm gonna dump a puddle in my hand. Oh, man. Alcohol based, so there's gonna be some tingling going on. Yeah, a little bit there and a little bit here, but the rest is fine. Oh, I love it. And the best part is my wife likes it too. This pretty much fades away pretty quickly, so it's not a cologne. It's really just an aftershave splash. Made in Italy. Lodovico Martelli SPA Via Fantina 169 in Fiesole, made in Italy. Love it, love it, love it. Refrescante e tonificante. So refreshing and toning. I speak Italian. No, I don't. Yeah, this is great. Now I should have also bought the aftershave balm they have also in Proraso Green. Forgot to order it. We'll have to buy it some other day to put that on as my second. Oh, I look a little bit tortured here. There's a little bit of some razor burny stuff going on, but my skin is gonna recover quick. So that was the setting 9. I shouldn't have done that, probably on my neck, especially not. But hey, we're fine. I gotta say, like I said, I don't condone this clear copying of a product, and it's clearly not as good and not as well lined up as the original. And this one here is not going to cause me to sell this one for sure. The original goes back on my hook, and this is going to disappear in my drawer of Chinese cheapo razors, which is fine. You know, I can try that out for you guys, so you guys don't have to. And this is going to go on my twice used magnet now. And it's probably going to be used during a daily shave. So, Ming Shi 5000S, I don't know. You be the judge and spend your own $5 or $6 on it. I don't think it's worth it because it's not super great. It's not super aligned. It doesn't have the tension that I would expect. And, you know, yeah. So that's my take on it. Alrighty, guys. So I hope on my next shave we can do the above the tie S1 slant razor, which comes in close comb and open comb, and I have both, and I want to try out. I'm not going to do a comparison between the two because I would have to swap around parts all the time. I'm going to do one at a time, but that's what I'm looking forward to doing with you guys next. And I'm going to try to do that in a little bit different format. So if you're interested, above the tie S1 slant razor, subscribe right now. And if you want to help me out, give me a thumbs up here on this video. Okay? I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.